Jayden Daniels, as you said earlier, clearly the top quarterback of this group, maybe the best rookie season that we've seen. I went back and looked at PFF grades historically. He's just below Russell Wilson's 2012. The caveat there, I think the PFF grades were bumped up a little bit during that 2012 season. So you could argue absolutely that Jayden Daniels had the best rookie quarterback season of any rookie over the last 10 plus years, or at least since the grading started. I think we saw that with our eyes. You could see with the numbers. They went to the Final Four in the NFC Championship. I mean, Jayden Daniels was fantastic. Before I dump cold water on that, Sam, do you want to describe, tell me about what you saw from him last year before we get into the Lee Corso, not so fast, my friend, and just figure out compare him to the other quarterbacks who also had great rookie seasons. What'd you see from Jayden last year?
So I think what was most impressive to me, I mean, we can, debate Jayden Daniels versus Russell Wilson's rookie year and all those kinds of things. I think what really characterized Daniels, though, is that by the time they got late in the year, into the playoffs, et cetera, Daniels was assuming a larger and larger responsibility and shouldering more of the burden than some of those other quarterbacks had in their rookie seasons. Now, I mean, even a guy like CJ Stroud, I think Daniels was doing more. Like, he was the guy that was going, okay, I got this. I'm going to cook. I'm going to take control over this critical drive. Like, I'm going to be the reason that we win the game. And there was a huge gap in talent, I think, between the Washington team and, Detroit, Philadelphia, like these teams that they were playing late in the season. And Daniels was like the only reason those games were close or that they were winning them at all. He was really impressive, like obviously poised, incredibly low turnover-worthy play rate over the course of his rookie season. Justin Herbert led the NFL for like 2 straight seasons with a turnover-worthy play rate of like 1.6%. Daniels last year was a 1.5. And it's not like he was doing that by, the Alex Smithian route, right? Not putting the ball in harm's way at all, being insanely conservative. Like, he was being aggressive. He was pushing the ball down the field. He was taking one-on-one shots when they were there. And then, oh, by the way, he's also one of the most dynamic runners in the NFL right out of the gate. So I, can't say enough about what Jayden Daniels looked like last season. Phenomenal rookie season right out of the gate. Phenomenal season, period. Forget rookie. I mean, just great quarterback season. And it's obviously only his first year, and they can hugely upgrade the talent around him. So I think Jayden Daniels completely changed the potential outlook for what he could be based off his rookie season. We've gone from being like, yeah, like he's talented, to now it's like he could genuinely be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL for the next decade plus.
Yeah, I thought he looked like a future MVP. I thought what he did for Washington, and look, we've been doing this offseason team building and talking about, hey, Commanders are making great moves and everything. It's still not on paper a great roster, and it wasn't last year. They had a nice run. They had a nice stretch, but I thought Jayden Daniels was absolutely the glue there. His coming out party, I was there in person, Monday Night Football, week 3 against the Cincinnati Bengals, 21 for 23 for 254 in a game that was, look, it was one of the worst pass rushing games I've ever seen from the Cincinnati Bengals. Jayden Daniels had time, but the thing that happened with the game on the line where the Bengals said, we can't get any pressure, we're going to go all out blitz, and Jayden Daniels stares down the barrel, gets hit, and puts the ball into the mailbox, as JT O'Sullivan likes to say. One of the best throws you'll see all season. And that was just so impressive to me. And that was, I thought, typified Daniel's season. He had answers. And that's what, before I tell you about the other quarterbacks that maybe had good starts and then struggled in year 2, what gives me hope for Jayden Daniels for the future is he has answers. And what you talked about down the stretch was, remember how often Dan Quinn was going for it on 4th down and how aggressive he was? It's because you have Jayden Daniels and you have this QB-designed run game that you could build around because of his running ability. I think he's already become one of the best scramblers in the NFL from a feel perspective and just how to navigate the pocket and go get those yards. I thought that's why a big part of why his completion percentage was high. He completed 68% of his passes because I don't think he had to force throws. That's why the turnover-worthy play percentage was so low. He didn't have to force throws. When something wasn't there, he'd go pick up 5 or 6 yards and turn it into a positive play. And in addition to just being accurate, having the great deep ball that he showed at LSU. So I was incredibly impressed by Jayden Daniels. And then you just add a little bit of the touchy-feely, the clutch stuff, the big plays down the stretch. in a whole lot of games. I thought he did some outstanding things.
All right, that's enough of that, Steve. Over 50% of the people listening to this are not subscribed right now. So click that button and then we can get back to whatever it is Steve's telling you about. That rushing ability is potentially what insulates him from a real sophomore slump the way some of these other quarterbacks have dealt with. Like, he broke 52 tackles with the ball in his hands. That's insane. Like, two quarterbacks broke more than 50 tackles. Jayden Daniels and Lamar Jackson. Those guys were basically double anybody else's figure. Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, those guys are in the 20s. Jayden Daniels and Lamar Jackson are up at 50. That, like, you can lean on that in a way the Texans can't really lean on that for CJ Stroud, right? When things start to go wrong, suddenly Stroud is under pressure from a game flow situation, from a game script situation, because now you're facing, these third and longs. Now you're having to kick it away on fourth down. Washington can prop this offense up, even if things start to go awry a little bit, because you've got that fourth down aggression. He's in that Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson world where we can get free first downs on these tough situations because Daniels invalidates the defense, right? I have an extra threat that you don't have the cover for, and I can pick up 2 yards when we need it and keep this drive going. And that invalidates, a bad throw earlier on in that series, right? So he's got that working for him. I think that potentially insulates away from any sophomore slump, in addition to the fact that they've upgraded at a bunch of spots, right? They now have a way better left tackle than they had a year ago. They've brought Deebo Samuel into the fold.
Right.
Like, they've added weaponry to this offense that was already insane based off how good he was playing.
So let me just go back through some of the other just using PFF grades as the baseline here. Here are the other top graded PFF rookie quarterbacks since 2012. Russell Wilson, who I mentioned. Now, Wilson in year 2, they won a Super Bowl in 2013. The knock, so to speak, on Wilson was, well, that's a Legion of Boom led team. Marshawn Lynch was the ball carrier. Russ was well protected. He didn't have a whole lot on his plate. And I think that's fair, right? When you're breaking down Russell Wilson, I think he was outstanding early in his career and never really tapered off until year 8 or 9, whatever it was. But certainly he was a little bit more protected with the run game and defense, right? So that's Russ. Dak Prescott, 2016. Remember, he was so good then. He had a couple seasons where he tapered off 17 and 18 before he built it back up again. CJ Stroud, we're coming off of 2023, one of the better rookie seasons that we saw. And they did the same thing. Look, now they add Stephon Diggs. Now it's year 2 in all the defensive additions that they had. But his offensive line fell apart. He wasn't seeing it the same way, wasn't feeling it the same way. He had a bit of a sophomore slump. Baker Mayfield, 2018. His offensive line was rough in 2019. He gets much worse in 19, bounces back in 20. Remember, he was a roller coaster ride. RG3, the famous 2012 season where Kyle Shanahan is there and they take the league by storm with his zone running ability, zone read ability. And in 2013, coming off an injury, tries to become more of a pocket passer, never the same. And one other name I'll throw in there is Mac Jones. He had a really good 2021 season, especially the first 10 games, already started to fall off a little bit at the end of his season. By 2022, I think the lack of tools and just general, the league caught up to him more than anything, right? But again, I think Jayden Daniels, of all that group, has enough tools in the toolbox to maybe overcome it. But the one thing I'll say for the people who are like, well, Jayden Daniels is clearly better than Caleb Williams. We're 1 year removed from, I think Bryce Young outplayed CJ Stroud last year. And that was a wild statement. If we said, when we were on the show last year at this time, it was like, maybe Bryce could figure it out. He was so bad. Stroud looks like the next big thing. And Bryce Young played better than CJ Stroud last year after getting benched. So these things happen, right? It's not always upward trajectory. I repeat that every year. I really love Jayden Daniels. I think he's going to be fantastic, future MVP candidate. But we've seen quarterbacks have great rookie seasons and taper off in year 2 before. So that's my only caveat with that analysis.
Sure. Thanks for watching all the way to the end of our video.
For more great content, click here to subscribe and here to watch another video. We'll see you again soon.